So because of the importance of quality to the customer, they started to develop what called quality systems or quality programs in order to be a way to manage all their process or all their behavior and how they look at how they do things and so forth so on. So I will explain two big types of those. These are the oops errors make you guys awake as well. So we're going to talk about total quality management and Six Sigma. There's another quality program that's called Lean System, but you're going to talk about that in chapter 6. So focus on total quality management and Six Sigma. Total quality management, and again, you have to think about there's a lot about quality that we're not covering here that kind of very specific. But total quality management, it was highly implemented in Japanese manufacturing, and especially after the World War II, right? And we have this saying from Ford, a high executive at Ford Motors on the 70s, right? The Japanese were the first to achieve quality, and then we learned that if you don't have it, you're not going to sell cars, right? You're going to be badly hurt if you don't have quality, right? So I was watching actually a documentary about the automotive industry that was showing that history when there was three big American companies like Ford, GM, and Chrysler dominated the American market, and they were the largest automotive companies. And then on the 70s, because of the oil crisis, the Japanese manufacturing came to U.S. start selling. So Honda, Toyota, in particular, came, and with smaller cars, where U.S. were making those big, cars that consume a lot, and they were big. But then with the oil prices going up, people wanted smaller cars, and they tried to do smaller cars, GM, Chrysler, Ford, and they were really, really bad of doing that. Bad quality cars, very, very bad on safety and all kind of other issues. But the Japanese market was very into those small and high quality cars, and they were able to do that actually by using some practice that were developed here in U.S. by some academics and actually the industry. So they took those practices that were developed, especially at this Second World War and a little bit after that, and they implemented into Japanese manufacturing, in particular Toyota and Honda. And the big impact of that is because quality has a potential to affect in two different ways. So first is to reduce costs, right? So we talked about internal, external prevention and appraisal costs. So if you do a good job making sure that your processes are creating products as the customer wants, so you maintain high quality level in every step of the process, you're going to reduce your cost, and reducing your cost actually increase your profit, right? And at the same time, what you're doing is making sure that the customer is getting what they want, right? So you're actually increasing or keeping your market share. So at that time, in the 70s and 80s, when the Japanese manufacturers were able to create very reliable cars and American manufacturers were not, people realized that, and they don't want to go to the to do a service in their car, every 6 months or a year. They want cars that can run for 100,000 miles without breaking anything. And by not doing that, the American manufacturers start losing market share, and they lost a lot of market share actually because of that. So there's two effects of quality. One, reduce cost. The other one is making sure that the customer actually buys more because of quality. So it can be a competitive priority, right? You buy things because you know that that brand will last more than another brand, right? And if you have a Toyota or if you have a Honda, or your parents or anyone in your family, that those cars don't break. You can use as much as you can, and there's very little that you're going to spend in maintenance. And that's true even today, which kind of the difference is nowadays very tight, right? The American manufacturers as European manufacturers were able to do better cars, but you still have some difference in terms of quality and durability. So they use what we call total quality management. Here I have some explanations. You guys can read it to that. But basically, it's creating a system where different sides of the organizations are working to keep the product with the high quality standards. It doesn't mean it means a lot, very low internal and external defects, right? So prevention and appraisal being one of the key aspects of total quality. And how can you do that? By making sure that your internal and external customers are satisfied. Involve your employees, they're key in those programs, making sure that they know what quality is, how important it is, and they guarantee the quality in every step of the process. Okay. And finally, continuous improvement, which means that you're always looking at your process and always looking at better ways to do the process, right? So you're trying to reduce the cost over and over again every day, basically, right? And here you have kind of a little bit more, we'll have next slides a little more explanations. The last thing is top management commitment. Of course, you need that to support continuous improvement, employee involvement, and customer, especially internal satisfaction, right? So it's very strongly based on leadership, and that's why it's so effective, and that's also why it's so difficult to implement. So here I have a little bit more about continuous improvement. I'm not going to read it. You guys can read to that, but it's basically the philosophy or looking at what you're doing and trying to do it better and better, right? So process analysis is our tools for continuous improvement, for example. And employee involvement, which is very difficult, although a lot of people talk about that, but it's very difficult because he needs to pass some of the power to the employee that's on supervision. You have to train them to most of the times work as a team, and to understand that you need to have quality in every step of the way, right? In every process, and at the source means you have to catch defects as soon as they happen, or even before they happen.